Hello everyone, my name is Camila Arratia. I'm from Coral Reef Senior High School. I'm from the medical program, and this is my experience interning at Vitas Healthcare. This is actually my first time interning at all, and this is also my first time doing it through the Summer Youth Internship Program. So, what is Vitas Healthcare? Vitas Healthcare is a hospice organization that has been around since 1978. It opened in Miami, Florida, around the mid 1970s, but that will be a story for the next slide. So, Vitas Healthcare was actually under a different name originally. It was actually called Hospice Care Inc. And a really cool fact that I found while researching was that Vitas actually has a Latin meaning standing for lives. And it being hospice treatment and all, I found it really cool that the name itself connects to what their purpose is as an organization. So, what is hospice? Hospice refers to a program that is set in place to ensure that the best quality of life is given to terminally ill patients. Now, being terminally ill usually means having a disease that will ultimately lead to death or to the person passing away. And as unfortunate as that is, hospice programs exist for the very reason to ensure that these people live their best lives and live comfortably until their time comes. And Vita's healthcare focuses on making sure that these patients are properly taken care of. It's important to note that Vita's healthcare wouldn't exist today if it weren't for Hugh A. Westbrook, Esther T. Cauliflower, and John Gates. So these three individuals basically were the main three in ensuring that terminally ill patients were actually being taken care of properly in the medical field. And this all occurred in the 1970s, like I previously mentioned. So the Medicare hospice benefit was also taking place around this time and allowed coverage to Medicare beneficiaries that any care related to terminally illnesses would be covered. So that basically meant that these patients would have their medical needs covered by the payment system itself rather than having to pay it out of their own pocket. So, Vitas Healthcare provided the effort and patience to ensure that these patients live comfortably throughout their remaining years, as they should be. So, this is the organization chart, and these are some of the supervisors as well as the employees that work. These include the chairman and the chief executive officer, Nick Westfall, Patrick Hale, the chief information officer, the president and operating officer, Joey Worley, and the chief medical officer, Joseph Shega. We also have these and these. And this is mostly about where I'm working. So, where I'm currently doing my internship is at the Vitas Healthcare around the 11731 Mills Drive in Suite 109. And the picture to the left depicts the building as a whole, as well as the picture on the right, which shows where I entered the building. So, how exactly did I prepare for my internship? So, as I've mentioned previously, this is actually my first time interning ever, and it was also in a work environment or like a working office environment, which I'm not really used to. I've babysat before, I volunteered before, but those are usually in like rowdy, loud places, and an office compared to that are two like polar opposites. So, the things I did to properly get into the program now were I completed the necessary courses and I got my certificate. I set up my EdFed account properly, and I also checked that I had appropriate office attire. So I've done Model UN before, so I had office business attire of the sort, but you always have to make sure that the dress pants that you're wearing, that the skirt that you're wearing, that they're all appropriate. And I also kept in contact with my supervisor. Her name is Sharna Gooden. She is super nice, super helpful. She always makes sure that the kids at my job are like always on top of it, always taken care of, making sure that we're not overworked, making sure that we're having our lunch. She's super nice, and the whole staff at Vita's Healthcare as a whole are super nice. I also made sure I had a ride to and from work. I've always had a thing where I'm like deeply afraid of being late to things. It's just how I was raised. So that's why I also set up an alarm to get up earlier than usual. It's just worst case scenario. I want to make sure that I'm there before or at least like close to the specific arrival time that I should be at. Because the thing is, with these internships, you can contact your supervisor and you can see if you're entering the office or the place where you're going to work earlier or after their usual opening office hours. So you don't actually have to get there when they open. You can get there a little bit later. But it all depends on your supervisor and how you communicate with them. And lastly, I also read up on the organization in which I would be interning at. So, Vita's Healthcare, I already knew it would be about hospice, and I knew how difficult it might be with it being such a melancholic setting, but the liveliness of the staff is very, very nice, very welcoming. So, it was really nice interning there. My responsibilities and duties consisted of filing and charting. So the picture I have here to the right is an empty file cabinet, and this is similar to what I work with. Of course, I couldn't take a picture of the actual file folders that I work with because they all include patient information, but this is similar to what I work with if this is just the empty version. So I usually just sort through patient files and arrange them accordingly into their respective binder. Each patient gets a binder, and I sort through their files, their focus visits, their exams, their um, legal documents, all that. I sort it into its respective plate area, and I just make sure everything's in order, everything's chronological. And I also chip in on other tasks, like such as this one time I helped with the big filing room, which was certainly a big task, but we had other people to work on it with, so that was really nice. I also helped in inputting into the system new employees that are going to be taking care of the patients, and that was also a really nice time trying to work the system and figuring out how that really works. So my day as an intern basically consists of filing. So, this is the file room that I was talking about to the very left. The picture in the middle is usually my working area. So, there I have my drink, I have my purse to the side, I have the blue binder in front of me. The paper to the side is actually not a patient file, but I don't want to risk showing it anyways. It's just basically the order of all the documents and where they should be located in the binder. I also have a hole puncher in case I need to hole punch anything to make it fit in there. I also have paper clips and those big binder clips just in case I need to group anything or ungroup anything. And then lastly, at around 12, we get lunch and we are able to eat in the little lounges they have. So the one to the right is actually the lounge on the third floor. And it's super nice. They have a coffee machine, they have an ice machine, they have a water machine, they have a sink, they have a microwave in case you want to heat anything up, and it's really nice. So this is my supervisor and coworkers. So the picture to the left is me and my coworker. The picture in the middle is me and my fellow coworkers who are also in the summer youth internship program. And then the one to the right is Shana Gooden, who's my supervisor at Vita's Healthcare. So, recommendations for future interns. I would encourage new interns to be lively and friendly at work. I know it's quite difficult to come out of one's shell because I'm like not necessarily a shy person, but I do struggle with speaking up or voicing if I need any help on something. But the people there at Vita's Healthcare are super welcoming and super gentle with new people who are in the office. So they make sure and constantly reassure you that you can come to them if you need help. so you never feel alone there. It's really nice. I also encourage to always put forward your best, always have a smile on your face. Like, it is also very crucial to have new connections with the summer youth internship program. I knew of people coming in because other people also attended my school, but it's not necessarily the same because I didn't talk to them on a daily basis. I didn't text them. I didn't see them at school every day. But now I know their names, I know their schedules, I know their hobbies, their interests, I know much more about them. And that just made the environment at work a lot more livelier and a lot more welcoming, as it should be. So it was just really a nice experience overall, trying to get new friends and while also gaining work experience. I also heavily encourage getting comfortable business attire. So the first few days, I mistakenly only wore heels, thinking that that would be appropriate. So I started getting smaller heels, similar to ballet flats, and those were a lot more comfortable. I could get throughout the day, and it was really nice. And as I said before, always strive for better and make sure you're giving it your all, because we do have breaks. And so you can wind down during those breaks, but it's really important that you put forward your best when you're not on break. Skills I've acquired and general takeaways. So I've absolutely loved working at Vitas Healthcare. I think it's been so much fun. I was scared, but everything turned out for the better. Like, everything has been so great. And the people have been great, the experience has been great, the work has been great. Not anything too laborious, not anything that I couldn't handle. Everything is just to your level, or if it's not, then they'll adjust you accordingly. So I've learned to be better at time management. I've learned to work smarter, not harder. And I've also worked with new systems in the technological base of the medical field. And I think it's all really neat. I think it's all really nice. So I've genuinely just really loved everything about this internship experience. That's all. Thank you for listening to my presentation.